Hello and welcome to my workshop. As you can see, I am pretty much elbow deep in Vaterra ascender parts. I recently purchased the 86K5 Blazer ascender kit. Went on sale with RPP Hobby, and going to give this a try. I've never owned one of these before. I've only briefly worked on one ever, and we're going to give it a shot. So this is going to be the chassis for underneath the CMP Type 11 military build. And the original concept would use an SCX-10-2 kit. And what I was going to do is make my own chassis rail in the back, make it flat, and then bend the chassis rail in the front and just reuse the components from the SCX-10-2, do some careful measurements and get the bolts in and everything would line up. Now, I'm not as familiar with the ascender kit, so I wasn't quite sure how that was going to work out, but one thing that I'd forgotten about is that the rear half is bolts onto the front half. So the rails, it's not a solid piece like most of the kits. It's a two-piece. So actually it's going to make it very nice. I have a very large piece here of steel. What I'll be able to do is to mount that up. Now I'm going to have to make it an L bracket here in the front, just until it clears the front chassis, and then it'll be a C channel in the back. Obviously I'll cut this down the middle, the square tubing down the middle to make it a C channel. But I think that should be plenty strong, bolting it into the chassis. And I'll have plenty of bracing in the back to hold it together, so I don't think that should be an issue at all. But essentially it's going to run straight back, and that's where the bed will be resting on. So the front of this I'm going to keep with basically all the stock ascender parts. It's going to have traditional shocks and the chassis mounted servo, and everything's going to be exactly like it would came from the kit. The back half I'm going to put leaf springs on, and so I'll probably have to make my own mounts, or I doubt there's anything I could buy off the shelf that would work, but make something to mount the leaf springs up. The other thing I'm not 100% sure on is mounting leaf springs to the rear. I think I can make this work. It's actually not a bad design to do that with. I probably can make something come off the top. So that's the general idea. The transmission will sit in the center, just as planned before. I'm going to have to look at placement. I stuck it in these holes, but it could go forward or backwards. So I got to get my drawing out and see where this actually would go. But that's it. So I want to get the front finished up, get all the suspension geometry, servo, everything on the front, and figure out where the skid plate's going to mount, get that moved if necessary, and then I'll make the rear pieces, and those will just bolt on. I'll have to obviously order the leaves and whatever else I need to make that happen, but should work out okay. I'm excited to try the ascender, see how it works. So I finished putting the front of the truck together, and obviously these will not be the wheels I use for the military build, but this is what came with the kit, and so I'm just going to use these for mock-up until my my other wheels get here. They were ordered, so that might take a couple weeks. But regardless, this will get me what I need. I've also put the rear together, but as you've seen, I haven't attached it because the idea is there will be a new chassis piece in the rear that's made from a piece of square tubing. That will be straight out the back, and this arch will disappear. And so once I get this cut down the middle and split open to make a C channel, I'll remove the top flange and then drill my holes and mount this up similarly to how this one is set up. This is pretty thick thick wall steel compared to what we have here, so it should not be an issue with any kind of flex or bending. But obviously I will put some kind of a bracing in the back. I've also ordered a leaf spring kit, and I'll come up with a way to mount those leaf springs onto this new rail and also onto the rear axle. So I was able to get the chassis rail extended in the rear and at least a start of getting the bed fit in around the transmission. As a reminder, I'm going to make a box in the bed that's going to look like a toolbox, but it just have the bottom cut out of it. And so that what that'll allow you to do is slip right over the existing transmission that's back there. So still a lot more work to do. Probably going to have to come in here and trim this motor plate off a good bit where I can, because I have to be able to get the cab in, and that's fitting right where the cab goes. That'll also be cut, and once this thing is, I'm going to put the cab and the bed all together as one piece with a spacer in between. So when you take the body out, the whole body will just lift straight up off of it. But anyway, that's the game plan. So the next thing will be is to work on getting the rear end suspension all set up, and then we can continue on fitting up the body and the work on getting the nose and the top of the cab done. Until then, we'll see you on the rocks.